It's got to be the star.
He just wants his cut.
He wants his cut. All right. So internet experts of the world, Wi-Fi people, how many WPBBs do I need in this gym in order to continue with my Zoom call recordings without losing speed?
So I think you need to average over 100.
Okay.
To be safe.
So I have 100, but
so
my
I have 1,000.
Yeah. See, that's really expensive. How much do you pay?
Like 80 a month.
I mean, okay. 100 MPBPs or whatever they are. What is it? Let's get the right.
Millibytes per second.
Yeah. Mbps, right? Mbps. So I have 100 Mbps. I pay $69.99 a month. If I want 300, it's like $139.99 a month. If I want 900, it's like $220 a month.
Wow.
So I'm not about that life. I'm willing to spend like $99 a month. And that, I think that will give me 200 MPDBs.
Mbps.
Anyway, so yeah, I have to figure that out. And I think I need one of those like booster extender things because the gym is so big that the lobby is where the router is. And that is, 5,000 square feet away from, or, 700 linear feet away from like where I am in the gym now. So I got to kind of figure that out. Maybe I could get 2 routers.
Have you tried a different company?
Well, so that's the other thing is like, we're very limited here in Wilmington as to who can provide what. Now I'm with Verizon and they told me that 100 was the max they offered because they don't have their like 5G network up where my business is, which is ridiculous because my business is on like a primary thoroughfare.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about calling Comcast and like doing a little comparison to see. But I think what I might have to do is just get a separate router for the gym.
I think a router with a booster will do you just fine.
Okay. Even if like the door's closed?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a booster upstairs, like upstairs, like in the bedroom area.
Yeah.
And it really helps. And it
The
goes
only
through
thing
the
is
ceiling.
it's only going to boost as much of the MBPPs that I have.
Right.
So maybe I still have to splurge on the $99 plan.
And maybe by the end of the episode, we will actually get the right acronym.
Millibytes per second.
Maybe you
I
should
can
just
say it. I just don't know what the letters mean.
Maybe you should just move to Pennsylvania.
I probably should.
Yeah, I would definitely check Comcast.
Charlie, are you wearing a mask? Is that how you wear a mask at Costco?
Sometimes.
I love it.
Well, his chin's not going to get COVID.
Right.
No. I got to keep my beard fresh.
That is funny.
All right, we are live on YouTube, and as you can tell, things are going crazy.
We have lots to talk about.
Lots to talk about. So first of all, we want to thank our sponsors, and I just got to see both of them this weekend, which was freaking awesome. RX Smart Gear. Make sure you go to rxsmartgear.com, use the code Clydesdale15 and get 15% off your order there. We have worked with them to make sure the code is working, and it should be working really well now. But I got to try out the air mat.
Oh, fun.
And as being a Clydesdale, I was worried that like this little blow up thing was not going to support the Clydesdale doing jump rope, right?
Yeah. You didn't break it, did you?
Oh my gosh, is it awesome. It takes away all the impact on my back and my legs. And I think I'm going to have double unders back in maybe a couple of weeks because I'm going to buy one.
Nice.
And I'm going to use my code Clydesdale15.
I was going to say, do you get 15% off of that with your code?
Yeah, I think so.
Good. Yeah. Good stuff.
So I'm super excited about that. And I also got to see the air box, which is much firmer than you can ever imagine. When you think blow up and boxes, you think there's no way, but it is amazing. And I got to see the thing they used in San Diego with your competition, the tsunami thing. The
tsunami bag.
Yeah, tsunami. Holy cow. That is so hard.
Yeah.
And then I got to meet with Jason at Element 26, and I hooked my boy Charlie up with some Element 26 wristbands.
Nice.
He gave me 2 pairs, so I took one.
Love.
So I can look cool at the gym too. And they were awesome. Got to hang out with them like every day. There was a ton of people. They just signed a big athlete.
Oh, good.
Heard. I didn't know Sam Quant was with them actually previously, but Danny Spiegel signed with them.
Really?
Yeah, like just this last weekend.
I like that.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. I got to hear that right from the CEO's mouth. But yeah. And then they were telling me who their favorite athletes were. And of course, I think Emma Carey's with them, and James Sprague and Dallin Pepper are Brute kids. And they love James. They couldn't say enough about James being the perfect podcast guest.
Oh my gosh.
Because you just pull the string and let him go.
Yep. He is great. That's very cool. Love it.
So, and that is Clydesdale 10 at checkout, all caps, at element26.co. All right. So what do we want to hit first? Because there's a whole lot going on.
I think the big thing.
Big thing, Wodapalooza.
Yeah, I got to talk about your trip.
So I was just telling these guys, and Andrew Sten just jumped on. I actually roomed with him down at Wodapalooza, and he was judging there. So if he has any comments, make sure he put those in the comments section. Yeah, amazing. Flew into Miami Wednesday night. Went to the event on Thursday. Other than a little snafu with my credentials and trying to get those. Once that happened, got into the venue, and it is nothing like I imagined. It is so big. It is so much in such an and I say big, but it's one park, and they cram so much into there. There were 4 stages going almost all the time simultaneously. You could check out anything you want at any time. Vendor Village is bigger than the games. And it goes like the minute you walk in the park, you start into Vendor Village, and it's down a sidewalk, and on both sides, just vendors the whole way. You get to like a hub in the circle, and there's the big Noble tent off to the right. And then you make a left, and then there's a huge pathway that goes like all the way from where the athletes warm up, all the way down to the ocean, and then along the ocean out to another gate. It is massive. So cool. Got to see so many people. Flagler stage, the main stage, is massive. I think it seats over 5,000 people now. And it was packed all the time.
So did you have special access at all, or did you have to buy festival tickets, or did you get festival tickets? How did that work? So
I got access because we did get permission to go we did have slots on the podcast stage. That I'll talk about it another time.
But you didn't have like front row media pass where you could take pictures, and you were you had tickets like a spectator had tickets.
Correct. And a lot of the media people that we've got to know over the last year had the same limited access. Right. If you look at the floor at Wodapalooza, there is really no place for photographers to stand. So they only let like less than a handful on at a time.
Got it.
And then there was that, like the end spots, one was like they were VIPs. And then they had the 4 corners like elevated, that one was like a Yingling tent, one was Ramwad, one, whatever. And they were all VIP areas to get these elevated looks down at the floor.
Yeah, that's where Matt Fraser was. I saw something this weekend with him on that.
Yeah, I think so it would be like the closest to the ocean side was the main VIP area. And that's where, like, if you watch Christy O'Connell's videos, that's where her and Patrick were. That's where Matt Fraser was. That's where like all the big Brooke Wells, Amanda Barnhart.
Charlie must be checking out. He's wearing his mask now.
Yeah. And so then the Bayside park is beautiful, just like what you'd think on when you watch it on the stream, right in front of the ocean. That's where like a lot of the swimming stuff happens. I would go there every morning with my God's Country coffee from Dan Bailey, and I would sit and drink my coffee looking at the ocean.
Nice.
And that's how I started every morning.
So
and then
was it as chaotic as I envision it to be?
Define chaotic.
Like if I was either a judge or running a floor or managing a team, would I be super stressed out?
I think so. I mean, they're long days for
Yeah.
sure. And the judges that I stayed with left way before I did, and they got home way after I did. I think like Andrew would tell you, like the floor he had the gauntlet for most of the weekend.
Okay.
And he was a team lead. But he was like, his floor was done before anybody else. And they didn't have like a ton of people per heat. So it was pretty manageable throughout the day.
Right.
I think if you're on Flagler where it's 30 lanes,
Yeah.
and you have to have judges out there all the time, it's insane. And everything is pretty compact. Everything was a short bar.
Yeah, I mean, like the floor looked almost squished, right?
Yeah, and they had multiple judges per lane. Now, Andrew is saying it's not chaotic. It's just super busy. Always something going on. So, and you know, like the judges, most of those judges have been around a very long time.
Yeah.
So they know that the drill. Now, I'm betting, now he's not saying this, but on Sunday when they had the rainstorm and they changed the event and did the judges brief on the floor right before it happened, like that had to be pure chaos. And I know like they lost judges because their flights were going out at that point. And so they brought people from like Andrew's floor over to Flagler. They brought people from Bayside up to Flagler to have extra judges on hand for that.
Yeah.
And literally to be briefed on the floor right before the event is a crazy thing if you're a judge. And I think it's a shame because I know there were some questionable calls in that event, and you can't really blame the judge because of the way it all went down and had to be.
Right.
And Matt explained it on the Sevon podcast that they have a curfew. Like they had to get it done by 10 o'clock or they weren't going to finish. And so you're really under this like time crunch, and it was crazy, but it looked great. If you're a spectator and you're not hearing the stuff behind the scenes, it looked awesome.
Who else did you get to meet? Friends of the show that you hadn't met before? Hanukkah?
Well, every day, I got to meet Dylan, who has been a listener for a long time. He listened to us through med school.
Oh,
and he was working the front gate and would say hi to me every morning. So shout out to Dylan. That was awesome. And then I didn't get to meet Annika. Like I saw her really up close. I was in the stands, but I never got to see her outside of that. And if you're a competitor, like I probably didn't see you.
Okay.
Because they were like head down from event to event, unless you were like team and they're just having fun.
Right.
Like DeLugos and Con and James, who took second and had a blast.
Yeah.
So like saw them and all that, and there's so many people. I can't even stress, like when you have all the divisions they have. And I did get to see Colette Casey with her family right around the food court, who was just on the show Monday. Most of the people I saw were just there hanging out.
Yeah.
And it was weird because I was telling my wife and everyone that like I was there by myself, but I never felt alone.
That's cool.
Because there were always people that I knew either through the volunteer experience or who have been on the show or people we have met that way. So yeah, I never ever felt like I was there by myself.
That's cool. So let's talk a little bit about some highlights of the competition. or lowlights, if you will. Sara
Yeah.
Sigmundsdottir tweaked her knee, or at least was afraid she tweaked her knee. I think at this point we know that she got another MRI and that she's back on the path to recovery and things like that. But I mean, here's the big question. Is it too much too soon for her, right? Like going from Dubai to Wodapalooza on a less than 9-month recovered ACL. Like I know she's really talented and I know she's really strong, but was that maybe not the wisest decision for her?
Yeah. I would say, yeah, it was too much too soon.
And
It's
not to
easy
scold
say that
her,
with-
not trying to scold her.
It's
and
easy
say,
to say that with hindsight.
Sure.
Because she lifted a similar weight in Dubai and didn't have a problem.
Yeah.
Now what this had that Dubai didn't is the short bar. And I sat with Cheryl and she was explaining that like that adds weight to it. Like people don't realize you don't get the bend in the bar to get that snap, to get the bar up is easy. And it makes it a lot harder. But I hope she's okay. I actually bumped into Snorri at the bar in the hotel on Monday.
Snorri's her agent, for anybody that
Yes.
doesn't know.
And I talked to him briefly and he looked much more like at ease about it than he did earlier in the weekend.
Sure.
So I think they got good news and then they celebrated Monday night.
Oh, good.
So I think they got really good news, but I think they're being cautious with the news going out.
Yeah. And that had to be so hard for her to be experiencing that sort of under the spotlight, on stage. Like you could see she was just kind of crumbling and rightfully so. I think anybody would in that situation, but it was just really hard to see because I know that for fans of Sara, we're concerned about her mindset and, her mental state going into these competitions. And that was just really a big blow to see her, sort of fall apart on the floor like that. And, there was nothing she could do. It wasn't like we thought any less of her, but it's like, it just kind of broke your heart a little bit to watch it.
Yeah. Let's go to a highlight just to kind of bring it up a little bit. And I think the cool thing about Wodapalooza is seeing the young talent that is getting exposure for the first time. And a lot of people that we know did well this weekend.
Yeah. And let's say people who are now getting exposure from mainstream media, CrossFit, who we have been exposing and talking to for a very long time. Because we are clairvoyant.
Yes. So Annika Greer was the buzz of the weekend. Everywhere I went, people were talking about Annika and they were talking about Ellie Turner. And the thing about Ellie Turner is I got to interview her at the games for Morning Chalk Up. And I was talking to her leading up to Wodapalooza and we're going to interview her in the next week or so. Yeah. And we had planned that before Wodapalooza.
Well, we were supposed to interview her last week, but jet lag and time difference and all that.
And actually said it'd be better to do it after Wodapalooza when we have that to talk about.
Yeah, for sure.
And so it's cool that she went out and won the first 2 events and led the thing for 3 days before she hit some things that are things she needs to work on. But it's coming up. So there was that. And then Ariel Lowen coming in third. My gosh, from the games till now, she won Zalos games. She has done Rogue. She came in third at Wodapalooza. Like, my goodness. And she's signing deals left and right.
Yeah, rightfully so. Well-deserved.
Yeah. So it was fun. And I chatted with her during the competition, but I didn't get to see her. Mm-hmm. We chatted via text. And she just was like so ecstatic and soaking it all in. And I chatted with Annika too. And you can reveal that we're doing something to promote our news channel. Yeah. And you actually did that today.
Yep. I recorded with Annika, maybe 10, 15 minute short interview, sort of the highs and lows of her weekend and what's next for her. Yeah.
And that'll drop within the next 24 hours. And you'll get to see that, but that's just kind of promoting our new show that's coming and kind of a taste of what you'll see on that. So yeah, excited I have not listened to it yet. I'm super excited to listen to it.
Yeah. So speaking of news, do we want to shift gears a little bit?
Well, I want to talk on the men's side real quick.
Okay, go ahead. Dallin, yes.
Dallin Pepper, he took third. Did he? Third this weekend? Fourth?
Fifth, I think. Fourth or fifth.
Okay, yeah. He did that. James Sprague was an event winner. All people that we have talked to in the past and that really showed. And then Alex Caron and Sam Cornier really killed it this weekend.
Yeah.
I love Sam. Like we've been friends with Sam now for a couple years, and it was really cool seeing him. And it looks like he's like right on the verge of coming out of it. And maybe that's a good transition into some of the news of the day.
Yeah. So let's talk about Sam. So we interviewed Sam right after the games, and he revealed to us how sick he got after the swim event. And we talked to Emily Rolfe, same story. I remember putting up on my Instagram story probably the same week that we talked to Sam, like, hey, anybody else get sick from this water? We brought it up with Dave Castro in an interview with Dave. I sort of made light of the fact that, maybe not only do you have to be the fittest, but you have to have the best intestines and foundation in order to, survive that swim. But, Morning Chalk Up released a report today that CrossFit knowingly got reports about that lake being unsafe or seemingly unsafe based on the standards provided by the state health board or whatever in Wisconsin. And they chose to continue that event regardless.
And specifically E. coli, which is what Emily Rolfe claimed it to be when she was on with us.
Yep.
And Dave said that they did not get reports to that effect.
Correct.
They did a week before the games, but right before it, everything was fine. So there seems to be some contradiction into the stories that Morning Chalk Up is reporting. And I know that they have done their due diligence. They've been working on this story for 6 months.
Right.
So yeah, it seems a little iffy as to what happened, a little shady.
I mean, I know Dave did tell us that, they got the report and Morning Chalk Up corroborated that report of like the day before, and I'm going to get my dates wrong, but let's say like 2 days before the swim event, they were fine. And then like the day of and the next day, they were not fine. And we don't know if Dave knew, right? I mean, there are lots of layers to the management and direction of those logistics. And maybe he didn't know. I just don't want to, make an assumption that, he absolutely knew, because we don't know. And I don't know that we'll ever know. But he did come on our show and, say that he didn't indicate that there was an issue.
Correct. And we had athletes say definitively there was an issue.
Yeah. And I mean, anecdotally, we've heard this in the past too, right? There's been stories about Joshua Bridges getting sick and other athletes, at the games in Madison, in that body of water, feeling ill. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, it seems like CrossFit declined comment. They also came out with this very strange YouTube recording of, it sounds like Justin Berg, quoting like a Teddy Roosevelt speech, something about, hold on. Let me get to that and see. The timing of it was very suspect. It was called, what was it called? Sorry, guys, this is We Dare Mighty Things, right? So that was a speech made by, I want to say Teddy Roosevelt, but it might've been FDR. I'm not sure. I don't want to click on it because then you guys will hear it and that'll mess up our broadcast. But it was like this scenes from Wodapalooza. And it was all about like daring to be mighty and in order to be great, you have to fail and you have to make mistakes. And if you're not going hard enough, you're not going to make mistakes. It's just it's cool, but like in the climate of knowing what news broke today, it was a little weird. It was a little weird. And again, I think it was Justin Berg doing the voiceover, which, he's the new head of the CrossFit Games. So. And
he was at Wodapalooza.
Was he? Yeah.
Yeah, he was there. Very. He was not hiding, like he was very available, walking around. So I thought that was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
To take that on and everything that's happened in the last few weeks. and to be that available to the fans was pretty awesome. So yeah, that's kind of the news. I will say, like, just overall, like, the experience as a spectator was amazing. I would highly recommend Wodapalooza. I had more fun there than the games because there's like this stress level at the games, right? Everybody's trying to get a story, or everybody is trying to win, and people are less accessible. Here, like, everybody's having a good time. So it's like everybody's hanging out together and partying and dancing, and it just had a different vibe to it. And it was so much fun.
Yeah. And you were probably feeling a lot better at Wodapalooza than you were at the games this year too.
I was.
Yeah.
I was. And update on the back, pain-free the entire weekend with the backpack on, hiking around the whole festival. It did fatigue a little bit, but I did not feel pain.
That's great.
So that is really awesome. And I did a couple workouts before I left. And now I'm going to get back tomorrow and get back to that. So
awesome. I still haven't worked out since Christmas Eve.
Technically.
But now I have equipment. I'm going to show you guys real quick. So I've got some bikes. There's my garage door. This rig is going to go up in a second. See the blue tape? That's where the wall mounted rig is going to go. And then I've got my freestanding rig is all set up. You see the wall balls back there in the corner. You've got my rowers. So I don't know which way I'm going. Here's, well, minus all the insulation, which is going to go in the other room, but I've got my little desk and computer, all my boxes.
Show the pretty blue line.
Those are the lockers. Oh, how do I do that? Oh, there. I've got some apparel hanging up. I need a way bigger American flag because that one looks really small. I have my Green Beret banner and my CrossFit Clarity banner. And I've cleaned the floors a couple of times, which is exciting. So yeah, things are coming along.
Great.
And the back room is just kind of empty right now, but I've got all my benches, trying to figure out whether I'm going to hang them up or not. I'm waiting on my new Rogue multi-tier dumbbell rack. And there's my little dumbbell rack, and then there are all my medicine balls and stuff. Still trying to figure out like where everything's going to go. But I had my buddy Everett over this morning. He runs CrossFit Kennett Square, and he sort of gave me some ideas on where to put stuff. So that was super helpful because he's, been doing this for a long time, almost 10 years now, and he knows where to put things. So
I actually talked to Adam Kramer at the event. I actually interviewed him and some of the kids who successfully completed the project or the program of the Green Beret Project on the stage at Wodapalooza. He said he stopped by and saw your place, and he said, it really puts me in a pickle because I think it's pretty awesome and it's really close to my house, but I go somewhere else, and do I leave or do I just become a member at more than one place?
That's so funny. I could probably use him to help me coach too. He's a pretty good coach. So yeah, I think around here, like CrossFit Delaware is such a small place, and some of these memberships are all incestuous. I mean, I belonged at Kennett Square when I had my own affiliate. I've done that many times, and that's a great box to go to. So I think it's good. We're starting to get into this culture where we're supporting each other and we're not like at odds with one another, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. So Andrew did bring up anything about the comments from athletes about the swim event. And I want to be careful about responding to this because I don't know the whole story.
Are we back at Wodapalooza now?
Yeah.
Okay. So here, I saw something during the swim event.
Right.
I saw somebody not go around the buoy that they were.
So no, this is more about that something happened during the swim event where they could not locate an athlete.
No, I think you can talk about that. Sorry, but before you get into that, Scott, I just want to say that I did see on the men's side, the elite men, one of the athletes did not go around the buoy. They like over the buoy. And I'm dying to know A, who it was, and B, did they get penalized for it? So if anyone is a high level judge that knows that information, I will not make it public, but my heart needs to know that person got penalized because it could have changed checks. which is important to me. So you go on with your story.
So I will tell you what I know as a fact.
Okay.
I know as a fact is that the event got delayed Saturday night by an hour and 20 minutes, I believe, because something happened during the swim event, the row, swim, run.
Mm-hmm. With the team.
It was at that point, it was the team's RX team, and it was the female RX team.
Mm-hmm.
Men had not gone yet. Something happened that made them delay and stop. There are athletes reporting on Instagram that they were there or they were part of that event during that time, and that it was chaos, that there was a missing athlete, that Coast Guard was brought in, and there were still swimmers in the water when they came in. And one of them almost got rolled by the Coast Guard ship.
Yikes.
But again, I don't know that that is just a statement by an athlete on Instagram.
Right.
I'm not saying it's false. I'm saying that I don't have any corroborating evidence.
Right.
To make a statement.
And we did hear that nobody died, right? Like there wasn't a drowning.
Everybody is
they were
fine.
looking for is fine.
Everybody is fine.
Right.
But there were a lot of rumors swirling around. I think, and don't quote me on this, I think that a swimmer did not enter the water because they got freaked out, and their teammates did. And when they got to the run at Bayside, two of the athletes were there, and the third athlete did not ever show up.
Yeah. And so the people that were checking, right. Rightfully so.
Right. And so that's when they went looking for things. And apparently there were still swimmers on the course though, when this was happening.
Got it.
And
caused the ruckus.
And one swimmer got pulled into, according to some people here on our chat, one of the athletes was pulled that they know personally into the Coast Guard boat. Oh,
while they were competing.
Yes.
Like, no, I'm fine. Let me go. Can you imagine?
I don't know that they're fine. It just could be because of the boat coming in, it would have caused some waves and some surges. Maybe that affected them. But that's what I know, kind of. And we do know that everybody's okay. But it did cause a delay, and the men never went. So Saturday night, the leaderboards did not update for a very long time. I think because of that, and there was no statement about it. The athletes on Instagram are complaining that there were no statements made by Wodapalooza, and it was just like, hey, don't look over here behind the curtain.
Right.
We're just going to keep going. And then when the rainstorm happened, I did hear some complaints from athletes that they eliminated events in some of the other fields and other divisions so that the elites could do all of their events.
Yeah. And that happened. I mean, unfortunately there's a pecking order, right. In the events. And I think that going into it. And if changes need to be made and you have curfews to meet and, sponsors to fulfill duties with and everything else, you kind of have to err on that side of, well, those elite folks are going to go. And then the rest of the pack, it happened with COVID, with teams and age groups. Like,
well, and the elites are getting paid money for where they finish.
Right.
They're not at the other divisions. And so it could impact financially what went on if you don't complete all the events at the elite level.
Yeah.
And even with that, they almost had to delete an event just because of timing.
Right.
But they were able to squeeze it in.
Speaking of athletes getting paid, I heard, and I don't know if this is true or not, so maybe we can reach out to some folks who are in the know. I heard that podium athletes from Masters Legends received nothing.
Were they supposed to?
I don't know. I mean, I would expect something for being on the podium of a competition, especially a competition of that caliber. I mean, we gave prizes away at the Green Beret Project Classic. I just, that's odd to me.
Yeah, I don't
So
know.
people that know, that listen, that know, let us know. Because that would be weird. And again, I don't want to, like, again, rumor, total rumor. It could be completely false. If I find out that it is, we'll retract that. But I'm curious to know. And I think this is the best way for me to get that out to people that might know. So let me know.
Bacon chimed in that Sevon said that the scoreboard was down due to WZA using buzzers and then trying to use chip timers, and it threw it off. Well, I can say there probably was technical issues with the buzzer system or the chip timer. There always is at events. And that's why the judges have stopwatches and put their times onto the card. That should not slow down a leaderboard at an event. That is a common practice where the judges have a backup time. And usually there's even a couple more backup watches going in case even that goes down. So,
yeah. I mean, it could have been the fact that they canceled that one heat. That could have messed up the technology, because that technology could have been pre-programmed. And again, I don't know how it works, but that could have been pre-programmed for like the lanes, the people, the whatever. And then if you skip that, like, who knows what had to happen on the
men's
back end.
heat was the last event of the day.
Oh, okay. Well, then
that's the only one that got deleted. So
well, that's my theory.
yeah. But yeah, with the rain and the weather, it wouldn't surprise me that the buzzers went down. Yeah. And then Andrew said also that there's athletes commenting about the discrepancies between payouts of the elites and the masters. Well, you know what? Yeah. There's a difference between the major leagues and the minor leagues. In baseball, the crowds are much larger at the elite events than there are at the masters events. Even at Wodapalooza, when their stage is going everywhere, the crowds are much different from one to the other. Until all of these masters, like us here on this show, get a crowd at Masters Fitness Collective and Legends West and all of the other ones around the world, the payouts are going to be less because they're not drawing the crowds or the streams. That's just a financial reality. And I support Masters. Like, I love going to all that. Yeah, Charlie?
They can't really be complaining about that.
Like, talk about old news, silly. Right?
It's like, I mean, the WNBA is not getting paid more than the NBA. Like,
right.
What are you trying to say, Charlie? The girls aren't as important?
I'm saying they should be, and that's going to happen before a 65-year-old.
For old people get paid. Oh man. So what's next for us? What do you got on the horizon, Scott? Where's your next visit for you?
So next for us.
Oh, can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I was reading the comments. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I got wrapped up there. The next thing we have going on is I'm flying to Austin in probably a week.
Awesome.
And I am going to be doing the podcast live at
the
Fittest Experience in Austin, Texas. I'm super excited. I've never been to that event. It's going to be another first time thing for me. My friends from that area who I saw over the weekend said they have announced us over and over and over again that we're going to be there. So I'm super stoked, like, that they are really pumping it up. And I'm excited to see some friends. I've met a lot of people from that area who are judges and volunteers at different events. And I got to see a lot of them at Wodapalooza, and I'll get to see even more when I go to Austin. So
serious FOMO.
The other thing we have going on, as we had mentioned earlier, is we're going to start premiering some of the stuff we're doing for our new show over the next couple days. The Annika Greer profile will be out hopefully tomorrow morning. I'll talk to Kat after we get done with this show. And then we have another one coming tomorrow. Fingers crossed it all goes well. I'll announce that once it happens. A pretty cool story that we get to expand on with a major athlete who just made a major decision, and we get to know the reasons why. So that'll be pretty fun. And then we have some other stuff coming from some of the people that are going to join us on that new show. And hopefully that's done before the weekend, because that's another major news event that will be cool to get that perspective. And we need a name. We need a name for our new show. I have whittled it down to two. It is either going to be the Rig Report or the High Intensity Times. So I'm going to put it out here. If you would vote in the comments, that would be awesome. And I will put it on my Instagram when we're done tonight, as a poll question. And then once we get a name, we'll get a new logo for that show, and we'll start promoting the stuff from that. But I'm super excited about that. I've talked to some people this weekend about it and to get more contributors to it. And I think it's going to be an awesome thing. And I can't wait to unveil that right before the open.
Very cool. Do we have it? Who's our next release? Do we know?
So Friday, I'm going to release the interviews I did at Wodapalooza.
Okay.
I will tell you now. I'm just going to combine them into one episode. They put us right beside Flagler. And if you watched the stream at all and you heard the coming from Flagler, that's what you will hear during these interviews.
Oh.
On the one interview, I tried to double mic, like use our lav mics with the PA mics, and they screeched off each other.
Oh no.
Then I just said, okay, I'll put the open mic with near the PA speakers. And that's where you get the even louder. So I actually talked to Kristen about all of this. She wants the feedback as to how to make it better. And I talked to, like, John Woolley was there, and Wex Podcast was there, Tommy Marquez. And we all kind of think there's a lot of open space along the water. It's better for the sound to do it, to be able to do it there. And even if we can't get as many people around it, than to be in the hub with all the people and not be able to record it because of the techno jams going on.
Right.
At a very high decibel.
What would be cool too is if it became this thing year over year where people knew about it and knew where it was and sort of made that a destination where they would be, respectfully quiet, around it, but sort of like the media, the media pit for the CrossFit Games, like in the tent, right? In the Fit Aid tent, something where people could go because they know some of those big names are going to be there, doing the interview, being respectful, watching the interview, and then having an opportunity to maybe, meet and greet those people afterwards. That would be cool.
Yeah. What basically happened is by Saturday afternoon, everybody that was there was like, it's not even worth wasting time because we couldn't get a good quality audio. So yeah. And the other thing is, like, trying to get guests on the fly is very hard.
Sure.
But yeah, everything I got, I will definitely put out. It'll come out Friday morning, as a podcast episode. Don't excuse the video quality because they had no place to put my video camera either. The first one, it's on the corner of the stage looking up at our guest. The second one I put on a chair out in front of the stage, but people walked in front of it. So yeah, but they did have a big digital screen behind us and they put our logo up.
Oh, that's cool.
So for the one interview, it's the podcast logo. For the other episode, they mixed up and put the media logo up.
Media. That's okay. We're all the same.
But yeah. So, but yeah, it was cool to have that like on this big screen in the food court for everybody to see.
Very cool. Well, as I get closer to the semblance of a gym here too, I'm going to do some video of the gym because this isn't cutting it really. So we'll do something better next time.
Walking around with a laptop.
Yeah, not the best.
Charlie, you got anything to say? How was Costco?
Costco was wonderful this time of night.
You gotta Instacart that shit next time. You ever do that?
No, then I can't get away from children.
Oh, well, okay. I don't have that issue.
And a maniac dog.
Did you buy anything that you're going to regret later at Costco?
No.
No salted caramels, no Tate's cookies, none of that. Good for you.
Nope.
You're a stronger man than me, Charlie.
It's a new year, new me.
I love it.
Yeah, Andrew said along the water by the hotel side would be really cool. And it'd be near the spectator workout area where it's not as loud, but there'd still be people. Yeah, we'll talk to Kristen. Yeah, she reached out to me last night just to get my opinion on some things, and which is really cool. And I actually talked to her. We're going to do her story about her affiliate coming up soon too.
Yeah, I'm really interested in that.
In Tanzania. And because it's done for a purpose other than just getting fit. And so I can't wait to hear all about that one.
And she still owns it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yeah.
She's a neat lady.
Well, with that, we'll catch you next week on the Clydesdale Fitness and Friends.
See ya.
Bye.